I was contacted by the Pentagon for a top secret project that they had a problem with in Desert Storm during the first Gulf War. I get a blank check from the Pentagon to fix this problem.
The true behind-the-scenes stories from the legends who changed the world. Welcome to Hot Rod History Lessons. Now, with all this excitement going on, there was a teenager about to be forever changed by a racetrack.
When I was 13 years old, I went to Charleston Speedway. Was probably my first exposure to oval track dirt racing. And that sort of got me hooked. At the age of 13, I knew what I wanted to do, and that was it. One of my first cars was a Plymouth Cuda. First thing I did to it was pull the exhaust off of it, new set of headers, intake and carburetor, and went to the drag strip. It's a legendary Norwalk Raceway. Back when I was drag racing up there, it was 2 cornfields on each side of it. You went off track, you hit a row of corn. It's on the NHRA schedule now. It's a first-class facility. One of my first jobs was working at a gas station. From there, I started driving the tow truck for the gas station. Then I decided I would try it with the big trucks and started towing semis and started doing road service on the big stuff. Got pretty old pretty quick, especially with the Ohio winters being what they are. My last day on the job driving the tow truck was 13 below zero with frostbite. I said, you know what? I said, I'm gonna do something different. I said, I gotta find a different job. I said, I'm not gonna continue to do this because it's not only that, it's a very dangerous job. Ended up getting a job repairing machinery in a tool and die shop, Brook Park, Ohio. I spent the next 14 years repairing machinery and equipment and become the plant engineer for the facility. Big responsibility, high pressure job. That one got old too.
Another one of our very useful products is our adhesive spray product, which comes in an aerosol can, and it's used for a number of uses with other products, like, for example, thermal guard. So what our spray is, you just spray it on the underneath side and attach it, let it set for a second or two, and it attaches right to the surface. It will also be used for our Mylar heat shield, which is basically the same thing except it's Mylar coated. It works for that. Anytime you need to attach something that's not adhesive.
My stepdad had a Kawasaki that he took in on trade on a car sitting in the garage, and I asked him what he was going to do with it and if I could have it. And he said, sure, and I ended up taking this thing home and making a sort of a crazy man's go-kart out of it. One of the issues I run into was the clumsy little kids I had at that time. My daughter, she would make her way around to getting hurt on just about everything.
Really, I think my first memory would be the go-kart. Would be Dad tinkering on it in the garage and me going in there and stealing his tools and messing with his stuff.
I knew that it was just a matter of time before she's going to get burned on the exhaust system of this thing. That's how the idea for header wrap came along.
Our family business started out to protect our daughters, to keep them from getting burned. And I became a believer when he wrapped the first set of headers, turned that engine on, and I put my hand on that header. And it didn't burn me. And it's good enough to protect my kids, it's good enough to protect your kids too.
I came up with a product that would work and was economical enough to sell to the racers. Knew the value of keeping and maintaining the heat inside the exhaust system, and also keeping the skin of my hand where it's supposed to be, not on the exhaust system. Because I burned a lot of skin off of a lot of body parts on headers, just like all racers have done. Back in the early 80s, there was no such thing as the internet. Thomas Register was one of the publications that they come out with that industrial companies and buyers and purchase agents would use. I used the Thomas Registers to track down some companies that made some high temperature type textiles. I knew that, anything that was flexible enough to be utilized for safety equipment. They made fire entry suits and things like that was available. If I could get a hold of some of those materials, maybe somebody made something that would be high temperature enough to withstand and do what I needed to do. I stumbled upon a company that had a specific type of coating. That company decided that they would make me some samples so that I could experiment with it. That's where header wrap was born. That's where it came from.
We'll take a short break here, class. When we come back, we see how this new idea ends up in some of the fastest race cars in the world. And Ed, more notepad, less sketch pad.
Next product is called Express Sleeve, and it's a material. It's a sleeving with various lengths. And the unique thing about Express Sleeve, this is what the name refers to, Express. It's easy to put on because you don't have to wrap it. It doesn't have adhesive. It simply has a Velcro. So you just kind of fold it around and attach it with the Velcro. And it has the fiberglass the fiberglass lining on it. And the outside is a mylar foil material, which is a little bit different because it's very tough. And it also reflects radiant heat up to 2,000 degrees. Like I say, it comes in various lengths. It also comes in 50-foot rolls.
My background in motorsports, I understood the importance of flow of the exhaust system. It's just as critical to have efficient flow of exhaust coming out of an engine as it is to on the induction side of getting the air and fuel in. And after developing this product, I decided that I would take it to a local machine shop, an engine builder that I knew for quite some time. He built a lot of super modified motors for asphalt racing. And I told Gary, it was Gary Miles of Miles Engineering. I asked him, I said, would you be willing to put this on your headers that you use on a dyno to dyno your big motors with and give me some numbers off of it? And he did so, and we were very impressed. You know, we pulled some really good numbers. These were high horsepower, big block, fuel injected, super modified motors. We pulled some really significant numbers. Found out that the smaller the cubic inch of the motor, the more difference that it made too. That led me to some friends of mine that had been buying some parts off of some of the NASCAR Cup teams. And I give one of the team owners a call down in Virginia, Junie Donlevy. I asked him, I said, Junie, I said, would you be willing to run my product on your Cup car? And at that time, Benny Parsons was driving that car. I said, I'll buy you an exhaust system and I'll do it. Personally, I will wrap your exhaust. He agreed to do it, and we started dealing with some of the biggest names in the business. Jack Roush, Hendrick Motorsports. I got a hold of Herb Gebler, who built the majority of the exhaust systems for the Cup teams back in the day. They're all stainless steel, very high-end, handmade exhaust systems for Roush Racing and Junie Donlevy, his race team. Wrapped a set of exhausts for Benny's car, and that was my first exposure, I guess, to the big guys in the Cup Series. And it didn't take long before Hendricks and all the rest of them were running my products. After about 2 years, I believe it was, close to 2 years, the company was making enough money to where I could quit my job.
The word was out. His brand new exhaust wrap was making an actual difference on race day. It was time to take that legendary leap.
I did do the first inaugural performance racing industry trade show by myself, built my own trade show booth and the whole 9 yards and hauled it down there and convinced everybody to wrap their headers. Been turned down a lot by the rep agencies that I was trying to get. They looked at me and said, you know, you're trying to sell somebody a product for $100 when back then a set of headers was about $100. So you're gonna have them have $200 in their headers. I don't think you'll be able to sell it. That just made me just more, I don't know, probably aggravated than anything else. From that point on, my philosophy was, you know what, if you don't buy my product, you will, because I will sell it one way or another, and eventually you will want it. Suppressor is one of our top-selling products. What the suppressor does is reduces
acoustical noise, sound. It's an adhesive back material with a foil on one side and a polyethylene material, rubberized, with a strong adhesive on it. On the other side, it's very flexible. It can go anywhere you want to put it. Firewalls, doors, floorboards to keep the noise out. Anything like that you want to reduce sound. And it also controls heat too. It can help reduce heat from coming in. And it comes in a variety of sizes that we have available, and easy to cut and easy to install. The adhesive, once it's down, it's down.
What's unique about being involved in motorsports is that it drags you into so many other different types of industries. We had a master sergeant down in Texas that was using our product on his oval track car, and through him I was contacted by the Pentagon for a top secret project that they had a problem with in Desert Storm during the first Gulf War. Next thing I know is I'm being consulted by the Pentagon for a top secret issue that they were having with some refueling pump sets for C-130s. That's how I got involved with the military stuff. It's funny how Master Sergeant racing his car, and all of a sudden I get a blank check from the Pentagon to fix this problem. And from there we go into Abrams tanks, designing and developing the heat shields for the tanks. We started shipping materials over the desert over there, wrapping the exhausts on their Hummers. I've had products on everything from the space shuttle to top secret projects for weapon development with the military. Being involved in motorsports drags you into just about everything. Aerospace, snowmobiles, you name it. I mean, we do generator sets, we do aircraft, heat shielding and reflecting, you name it. I've done a little bit of everything.
The next product I want to talk about is Thermo-Guard. Thermo-Guard is our best-selling product as far as heat and sound reduction. It has a variety of uses. It can be used on the floorboard, used on the door, hood, anywhere you need, even the trunk, you need heat and sound insulation. It comes in various sizes, 24 by 48 and a 48 by 72. It's a foil material on one side and about a 1/2 inch fiber felt material on the other side. So it's very flexible. You can cut it easy to fit whatever size you need, and it works very well with our adhesive spray. Just spray it on, let it set for a minute, and just put it down.
When you invent a brand new cutting-edge product, it's no surprise when some of the most influential players in the game start knocking on your door.
Well, throughout the years, I mean, we've had the who's who of everything in motorsports using our products.
We've worked with quite a few big names. We've worked with Brad and Doug DeBerti. They have a show, Twin Turbos. Hoonigan will call us and throw some different ideas at us once in a while. We also work with GTF Motorsports. He uses our products and we sponsor him. He took his truck out to SEMA this year for the SEMA Burn Yard. He had a good time and we liked watching him do it. One of the things that sticks out the most is we were watching The Walking Dead, and I believe it's the very first episode of season 6. Daryl is wrapping his exhaust on his bike. So even in the zombie apocalypse, you will need Thermo-Tec.
The different companies that try to imitate us, there's an endless list of them. But as far as the actual material and products go, I've handled a lot of them, and with the experience of being around cars like the one behind me and with in-house testing of different competitors' products, like our torch test that we do at the shop with different people's wraps. You know, ours holds up and you can see the heat dissipate and spread throughout the material versus competitors. A blowtorch within seconds will put a hole right through their material. And you can hold a blowtorch to ours for minutes to hours and it's not going to change.
For the customer, they may see 2 packages in the store, the product looks the same, it may be a couple bucks cheaper. Well, I'll see you in a week or 2 back to buy the OG. A lot of businesses out there try to copy what my parents have built. Most of the things that we see are from other countries, China in particular, made in America. That's probably first and foremost when we want to come out with a new product or even our existing products, everything is made here in the US.
So the copper is exclusive to us. We're the only ones that have it. When we actually have copper flakes that are in the material, it helps conduct heat better and keep the heat moving through the exhaust pipe better than the other wraps do. It's still a fiberglass wrap, still works the same as the others, still applies. Just has a different color, a little bit different ingredient in it, and it does work a little bit better than the rest of ours. Nothing drastic, but if you put it on a dyno, you will see a difference.
So our company has always supported the military. So when you see these logos, just like on the dragster sitting behind me, they aren't our sponsors. We support them and we give to these charities every year. It's very important to us. My grandfather was in the Army. My uncle was in the Army. Both of my boys are now in the Army. So it's pretty important to me to support our military. We are the original. We've been in business going on 35 years now. Our employees have been here for a long time. They're like family. We all work together.
I've been working here actually about 18 years.
I've been here almost 20 years now.
What do? I do about everything there is to do around here. I can run all the machines. I can do whatever you need me to do.
Like I say, we can't fill in and do everything. I really like working here. It's a small place. I really don't care for the big business type thing.
I don't think anybody really has a job title around here.
Jim, he studies a lot of things. I mean, for a man out here in the middle of Podunk, Ohio, he's really got it happening. I mean, we sell to the whole world, basically.
Well, class, that's our story. It just goes to show you a great idea with some hard work and determination really can open those doors. Especially helpful with a strong family by your side.
I'd have to say 35 years ago, if I could look ahead and say that, boy, you're going to be sitting in front of your own dragster and got all these hot rods around you. God's been good to me.
Cool it with Thermo-Tec.
I did go to school with a family member. I went to school with Chrissy. And she was a very nice lady in school.
How do I feel about Will working here? That's a whole nother show.
Thanks for joining us, class. We'll see you next time on Hot Rod History Lessons.